Before we cross into the unknown, leave a hello in the comments. Even the smallest signal can ripple across galaxies, guiding fellow wanderers to this tale. Let me know you're out there. A voice among the stars, listening with me beyond the veil. Engines roared across the command deck of the battleship Vanguard's Reach as Admiral Wynn witnessed the impossible. The rogue planet, once a cold, drifting corpse, split open like a mechanical flower, revealing titanic structures pulsing with pale blue chronolite. Moments earlier, her closest ally, Captain Hadrian Voss, had sent a private transmission. Solara, trust no one. They're coming for you. Now his ship burned in the void, gutted from within. Wynn's voice carried through the fleet, steady but edged with grief. All units prepare for breach. Whatever did this, wants us to see. On the planet's surface, Dr. Ren Ibarra knelt before the ruins, hands trembling as he traced symbols carved into obsidian. They matched the forbidden glyphs stored in the Phantom Fleet's deepest archives, symbols older than recorded history. Commander Thane Rourke narrated the moment in his mission log. Our intel was wrong. This isn't alien, it's familiar. Ren stepped back as the symbols ignited, revealing a star map not of galaxies, but universes. The architects, Ren whispered, they weren't myths. They were us. And the universe they abandoned was coming back. Rourke's voice echoed over the observation dome as the ruins awakened. This is no artifact. This is a transmission. The planet shook, releasing gravity waves that rippled through the fleet. Wynn steadied herself against the railing as the holographic projection expanded, displaying a humanoid figure formed of fractured starlight. As descendants of the first human empire, the figure intoned, you have strayed. Wynn clenched her jaw. They're judging us. The projection fractured into streams of data that raced across every ship's system, infiltrating firewalls as if they belonged there. Dr. Ibarra deciphered the incoming data in real time, sweat forming along his brow. This isn't a message, it's a blueprint. For what? Rourke asked. Replacement. The architects had crafted new humans, optimized, engineered, flawless, and their universe was configured to fit only them. Wynn slammed her fist on the console. They intend to overwrite ours. Before anyone could respond, the rogue planet's core flared, releasing a shockwave that folded space. A massive gate, hexagonal and impossibly ancient, materialized above them. Something waited on the other side. The gate pulsed like a mechanical heart, and Admiral Wynn felt a chill ripple through her spine. Fleet. Defensive formation, Delta 7, Rourke narrated into his recorder, voice straining. The anomaly is destabilizing space-time. If it expands, we lose this entire sector. A spear of white light erupted from the gate, striking the Vanguard's Reach. Shields dimmed to a red glow. From the breach emerged vessels, sleek, silent, geometry strange. Ren's voice cracked. Architect constructs. They're unmanned, designed for eradication. Wynn stood tall. Then we give them a war they've forgotten. The constructs attacked without hesitation, silently carving through asteroid fields to adjust firing angles with inhuman precision. Wynn barked orders. Target their joints, those pivot seams along the hull. Rourke's ship, Iron Gale, launched a volley of plasma rounds, severing one construct cleanly in half. It didn't explode, its pieces rearranged, rebuilding mid-battle. Ren paled. Self-repairing. They're using micro-reality threads. Meaning? Wynn demanded. They pull replacement matter from adjacent universes. Wynn exhaled sharply. They're fighting with infinite ammunition. But so would she, if she uncovered what the architects left behind. Ren accessed a sealed database embedded within the ruins, his voice trembling as Wynn and Rourke listened from orbit. The first cosmic war wasn't fought between humans and aliens. It was fought between humans and their perfected future selves. Images flashed across his visor, city worlds collapsing, stars detonating, universes cracking like glass. "Early humans lost," Ren whispered, "so they fled. They built new universes. To hide." Wynn swallowed hard, and we inherited their unfinished battle. Suddenly, the ruined ceiling projected a final message. "We knew you would return." The message unfolded into coordinates deep within the galactic halo. Rourke narrated the moment. "It's a cache, a weapon, or warning." Before the team could react, the ground trembled. Architect drones erupted from beneath the surface, their limbs unfolding like razors. Ren sprinted toward the extraction skiff. "They're waking the planet!" Wynn deployed orbital fire, scorching the drones with pinpoint beams. "Everyone aboard," she commanded. As the fleet pulled away, the rogue planet sealed itself, as if displeased. The architects now knew that humanity had rediscovered its origins. The fleet warped to the galactic halo, where a colossal crystalline sphere floated alone, a vault older than the Milky Way itself. Rourke narrated with a hushed reverence. "It's not a storage facility. It's a memory." The vault opened as the fleet approached, projecting holographic corridors of shimmering data. Ren stepped inside, whispering, "This is everything they didn't want us to know." A hologram activated, an early human admiral from the First War. "If you see this," he said solemnly, "the architects have found you." The hologram continued. "You must finish what we could not. There is a weapon, hidden beneath the fabric of this universe. Only our descendants may wield it." Ren frowned. "A universe binder, theoretical, dangerous." Wynn crossed her arms. "We don't have the luxury of fear." Suddenly, alarms blared. Architect constructs had traced their jump signature. Rourke's voice tightened. "They're here." The vault dimmed, revealing a final inscription. "Choose your universe wisely." The fleet braced for impact as the first shots of the Second Cosmic War ignited the void. The fleet entered the edge of a space-time fracture. Admiral Wynn gritted her teeth. "Formation Sigma. Titan, hold the line." Rourke's voice crackled over comms. "Sensors are fluctuating. Entire sections of the fleet blink in and out of reality." Ren observed from the bridge, holographic schematics bending unnaturally. "They're testing our perception. The constructs manipulate time. In real time." A vessel flickered violently, its crew screaming before vanishing entirely. Wynn's jaw clenched. "If we lose the fleet, we lose the universe." The constructs advanced through the fracture, phasing around shields as if matter had no meaning. Rourke narrated. "Every strike we land is mirrored, duplicated, before it even hits." Ren's hands flew over the console, piecing together a pattern. "The architect algorithms. They anticipate choices before they happen. We're inside a predictive loop." Wynn stared at the holographic map. "Then we fight unpredictably, fire randomly, break their pattern." The fleet obeyed, flares scattering like shattered stars. For a moment, the constructs faltered, but the fracture expanded, and reality itself began to crack. Inside the Halo vault, Ren activated a concealed chamber. "This is it," he murmured. A sphere of pulsing light emerged, the universe binder. Streams of reality wove around it like ribbons of liquid crystal. Rourke's voice was tense. "We can't control that, not without collapsing our own existence." Wynn placed a hand on the console. "If we don't, the architects overwrite us entirely." Ren hesitated. "It's sentient. It responds to intent." Wynn's gaze hardened. "Then it will respond to survival." As Ren stabilized the binder, the constructs breached the vault's perimeter, slicing through defense drones with precision. Rourke's narration detailed the chaos. "They're adapting. The binder's energy signature is feeding them." Ren adjusted the parameters, whispering equations in a frenzy. Wynn ordered, "Evacuate non-essential personnel. Ren, we need full control now." The binder pulsed violently, engulfing the vault in crystalline light. Outside, the constructs hesitated, their forms distorting in the luminous spectrum. A single thought reverberated through the fleet. The fight was no longer just physical, it was existential. The fleet navigated warped corridors of space, following a phantom signal that pulsed like a heartbeat. Rourke narrated, "It's a human signature, from the First War, or a copy of one." Wynn's voice cut through the tension. If they survived, they're probably guiding the constructs. Ren studied the signal. No, it's a memory echo. They left fragments of themselves behind, encoded in the architecture of the universe. A ghostly projection of an ancient admiral appeared before them, eyes wide, lips moving silently, repeating warnings across eons. Wynn swallowed. They prepared for us. For this war. Constructs warped into their path, phasing in and out with uncanny precision. Rourke's log trembled with disbelief. Every move we make, predicted by our ancestors. Ren connected the binder to the fleet's navigation system, trying to anticipate the construct's maneuvers. Wynn barked orders. "Engage on my mark. Break formation. Scatter unpredictably." The fleet scattered like meteors, lasers cutting through the fractured void. The ghostly projection shimmered, watching silently. For the first time, humanity realized the architect's true plan: to reclaim existence through memory, calculation, and the perfect replication of human ambition. A colossal construct descended, its form resembling a lattice of black light. The fleet's sensors screamed. Wynn ordered, "All fire at structural nodes. Don't let it reach the binder." Rourke's voice trembled. "Admiral, it's feeding on our attacks, adapting faster than we can react." Ren calculated trajectory corrections on the binder, sweat dripping from his forehead. "If it touches the gate, our universe merges with theirs, permanently." Wynn gritted her teeth. "Then we destroy it, no matter the cost." Plasma beams struck the construct only to have the energy rerouted into the gate, warping space further. Rourke narrated, "It's siphoning the universe itself, pulling reality into that lattice." Ren's hands flew across the console, connecting the binder's energy flow to the fleet's weapons. Wynn's voice thundered, "Synchronize fire with the binder, now!" The fleet erupted in coordinated volleys, streams of crystalline light arcing into the construct. The lattice trembled, then shattered in a cascade of fragmented stars. But the gate remained. And from it, new shadows emerged. Time itself began to ripple. Wynn's eyes widened as the fleet watched constructs emerge not only ahead but behind them, from moments yet to come. Rourke whispered almost to himself, "They're fighting in every possible timeline, simultaneously." Ren adjusted the binder, its light flaring. "We need to anchor reality. Otherwise, the architects rewrite all probability." Wynn gripped the console. "Do it. Lock this moment. Lock our existence." The fleet braced as the binder's energy expanded, tethering fragments of time and space. Constructs collided with projected versions of themselves, sparks of impossible physics rippling through the void. Rourke narrated, awe and fear intertwining. "We're seeing every choice, every outcome, all at once." Ren chanted equations aloud, harmonizing the binder's frequency with the flow of time. Wynn's voice carried over the fleet. "Hold steady. No matter what you see, trust reality." A shockwave of unified energy erupted from the binder, scattering constructs across timelines. For the first time, the architects faltered. The war had entered a new phase, where existence itself was the battlefield. The void trembled as a fragment of the architect's consciousness coalesced, forming a massive humanoid silhouette from drifting starlight. Wynn's voice was sharp. "All units, prepare for full engagement. This is not just a construct, it's intelligence. Rourke narrated. Every strike against it ripples through the fleet, predicting responses before they happen. Ren's fingers flew across the binder console. It's aware of us, learning from our very thoughts. Wynn's jaw tightened. Then we think unpredictably. Every maneuver counts. The remnant reached out, and reality bent under its presence, folding the battlefield like paper. Rourke shouted, "Sensors can't stabilize. It's rewriting physics locally." Ren activated the binder's defensive matrix. Pulses of energy created a temporal bubble around the fleet. Wynn's voice cut across the chaos. Fire at its core, timed with the binder's pulse. Explosions of crystalline light tore through the remnant, but it split into countless smaller entities, each learning faster than before. The fleet staggered. For the first time, humanity felt the weight of the architect's true scale. Reality fractured again. Ships blinked in and out, repeating events before they happened. Rourke's voice trembled. "It's a loop. We're trapped inside our own past and future simultaneously." Wynn slammed her fist. "Break the sequence. Destroy the loop anchors." Ren traced the anchors, small crystalline nodes pulsing with energy. "They're tethered to our decisions. Every choice feeds them." A flash revealed multiple versions of the fleet, fighting, burning, and vanishing. Wynn whispered, "Then we fight ourselves too." The binder hummed, syncing with Ren's calculations. "Focus on intent, not action," Ren urged. "The binder can overwrite the loop, but only if we act as one." Wynn's fleet fired simultaneously at the anchors, shattering them into fractal light. Constructs blinked erratically, disoriented by the collapse of their predictive patterns. Rourke's voice softened, awe creeping in. "We've broken their chain. For now." The temporal storm settled, leaving the fleet floating in warped silence. But the architect's shadow lingered, whispering of universes yet to be claimed. Ren led the fleet to an abandoned Phantom Fleet station, drifting in a dead sector. "It contains the original data of the architect's early human progenitors," he said, voice tight. Wynn surveyed the decaying station. "If we can decode it, we might anticipate their next move." Rourke narrated. Every corridor vibrated with echoes of past missions, ghosts of humans who fought the First War. As Ren interfaced with the mainframe, holographic glyphs spiraled outward, revealing simulations of entire universes. Wynn's eyes narrowed. "This is the architect blueprint, and they know we're here." Suddenly, the station shuddered. Constructs materialized from thin air, cutting across the station's corridors like liquid steel. Rourke shouted, "They're inside, everywhere." Ren activated the station's old defense arrays, energy beams lancing through the void, disintegrating constructs mid-phase. Wynn barked orders, "Evacuate civilians, secure data cores. No one leaves empty-handed." As the fleet gathered critical files, holographic projections of early humans revealed a chilling truth. The architect's perfection wasn't just physical, it extended to memory, morality, and strategy. If humanity fought, they would face versions of themselves perfected beyond imagination. Wynn's fleet warped toward the convergence point of multiple timelines, where residual architect energy pulsed like a heartbeat. Rourke narrated, "We're approaching the Nexus, a place where all probabilities intersect." Ships from divergent realities flickered in and out, alternate fleets, lost timelines, and ghostly variants of the Vanguard's reach. Ren adjusted the binder. "If we synchronize it here, we can lock the architects into a single reality." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "Or we shatter existence entirely." The fleet formed a diamond formation, engines roaring, ready to anchor reality itself. Constructs poured from fractured gates, faster, smarter, anticipating every strike. Rourke shouted, "They've integrated knowledge from countless timelines." Ren's hands danced over the binder's interface. "Hold the pulse, just a fraction longer." The fleet unleashed coordinated volleys, each strike amplified by the binder's field. Constructs collided, disintegrating into sparks of starlight, only to reconstitute partially, then collapse under temporal strain. Wynn's voice echoed across the fleet. "We hold, but they're learning. Every second is borrowed." The convergence point trembled, as if reality itself feared the outcome. Wynn's fleet advanced on the fractured zone, the binder humming with omnipotent energy. Rourke narrated, voice taut with tension. "We are no longer reacting. We are dictating the battle." Constructs attacked in patterns designed to trap them in loops, but the binder predicted and countered each move. Ren interfaced directly, sending pulses of counter-frequency into the construct's predictive network. "Now, Wynn!" he yelled. The fleet fired, every vessel striking in perfect unison, crystallizing a wave of temporal energy that shattered incoming constructs. The battlefield glowed as shards of light collided with the void. Rourke's voice was calm for the first time. "The tide has turned, but the war isn't over." Ren adjusted the binder's flow, stabilizing the fractured nexus. Wynn stared at the remnants of the Architect assault. "We've proven they can be beaten, but they adapt faster than we imagine." From the edges of reality, new constructs shimmered into view, hinting at deeper strategies yet unseen. The fleet braced, engines roaring once more, knowing the Architect's next move would be decisive. The fleet approached the core of the Architect network, a labyrinth of floating spires and energy conduits. Rourke narrated, "This isn't just a base. It's a sentient control hub, the mind of the Architect war machine." Wynn's voice was firm. "We strike it at the heart, no hesitation." Ren studied the Nexus hologram. Every conduit links to alternate realities. A single misfire and we collapse entire timelines. Wynn's jaw clenched. Then precision is survival. Constructs swarmed like liquid shadows around the Nexus, phasing through shields effortlessly. Rourke shouted, "Their adaptation algorithms are accelerating exponentially." Ren aligned the binder with the Nexus's primary energy core. "If we destabilize it from here, we can sever their predictive network." Wynn's fleet advanced in coordinated formations, every strike amplified by the binder's pulses. Energy rippled through the Nexus. For a brief moment, the constructs froze, their collective consciousness stunned by the unexpected precision. The fleet pressed forward, ready to penetrate deeper into the Architect's mind. Time folded violently as the fleet engaged, stars streaking in impossible arcs. Rourke narrated, "Every shot overlaps with past and future strikes. The battlefield is everywhere." Wynn's voice carried across the chaos. "Split fire. Target conduits in sequence. Don't let the network reinitialize." Ren traced the conduits inside the binder interface, sweat on his brow. "We're threading a needle through multiple realities simultaneously." Constructs adapted instantly, phasing through attacks with anticipatory precision. Wynn gritted her teeth. "Then we think differently, break their expectations." The fleet executed unpredictable maneuvers, weaving through overlapping timelines. Rourke recorded, "We're exploiting gaps between probability threads. For the first time, the Architects hesitate." Ren amplified the binder's resonance. Pulses of energy tore through the network conduits, destabilizing local reality. Constructs convulsed as timelines clashed around them, unable to reconcile diverging probabilities. Wynn's voice thundered, "Push forward. Every second counts." Shards of the Nexus collapsed into fractal light. But deep within the labyrinth, something ancient stirred, a presence older and more cunning than the fleet had anticipated. Ren froze as a holographic form appeared, a human silhouette radiating starfire, unlike any construct. Rourke whispered into the recorder, "It's a progenitor, an Architect ancestor, perhaps the first human to escape the First War." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "It knows we're here. Every move we've made. Recorded. Anticipated." The figure extended a hand, and reality rippled around it, bending the battlefield into impossible geometry. Ren's voice trembled. It's rewriting the rules. Faster than the binder can adapt. Constructs surged to defend their progenitor, but the fleet held formation, synchronized by the binder's pulses. Rourke narrated, "The progenitor is assessing, calculating, choosing its next strike." Wynn barked orders, "Disrupt its focus, hit all nodes simultaneously." The fleet fired in a chaotic symphony, crystalline beams tearing through conduits and structures. The progenitor staggered but did not fall. Ren's interface glowed violently. "It's not just a strategist, it's a living universe." Wynn clenched her fists. "Then we fight like we are too." The fleet regrouped, battered but functional, as remnants of construct swarms reconverged from multiple timelines. Rourke narrated, "We're seeing reflections of ourselves, fleets that never existed, firing at us from parallel realities." Wynn gritted her teeth. "We fight all of them. No hesitation, no mercy." Ren adjusted the binder to link fleet AI across timelines. "If we synchronize perfectly, our fleet acts as one entity across every potential reality." The Armada braced, engines roaring in unison, pulses of energy stabilizing fractured space. Constructs phased through overlapping reality threads, striking at impossible angles. Rourke's log trembled. "It's relentless. It doesn't just fight, it anticipates every possibility." Ren's fingers flew across the binder. "We have to collapse their predictive matrix. One unified pulse." Wynn's fleet launched a coordinated strike, synchronized across temporal threads. Crystalline beams collided with the construct swarms, disintegrating and scattering them into fragments. For the first time, the Architect's forces faltered, unable to reconcile multiple realities at once. But the progenitor observed silently, calculating the next phase. Ren prepared the final pulse of the binder, a surge designed to sever the nexus from all timelines. Rourke narrated, "This is it, the moment to force the Architects out of reality." Wynn's voice was steady. "Fire on my mark, hold nothing back." Constructs surged in a last attempt to stabilize the nexus, their forms flickering violently. Ren's pulse coursed through the binder, tethering the fleet's energy to fractured conduits. The nexus quaked, crystalline lattice trembling as if aware of its impending collapse. A wave of energy rippled outward, shattering the nexus into fractal shards across timelines. Constructs convulsed, destabilized, and disintegrated into streams of light. The progenitor's form flickered, startled by the binder's final pulse. Rourke whispered, "They're retreating. For now." Wynn exhaled sharply. "We've held the line, but this war is far from over." Ren collapsed into his chair, drained. "We've won a battle, not the war." The fleet floated in the afterglow, engines humming, reality momentarily stabilized, but the shadow of the Architects loomed ever larger. The fleet drifted through the fractured halo of the destroyed nexus, engines humming uneasily. Rourke narrated, "We've won a battle, but perfection is still out there, observing, calculating." Wynn's voice was sharp. "They're studying us. Every victory, every tactic, cataloged." Ren accessed the Phantom archive. "The Architects don't just anticipate, they learn. Each construct is a refinement, a copy of our weaknesses." Wynn's jaw tightened. "Then we force them into improvisation. Nothing predictable, nothing calculated." Suddenly, distant pulses lit the void, an entire secondary fleet, shimmering with altered reality signatures. Rourke whispered, "Another projection. Or a real fleet." Ren's hands flew over the console. "Impossible." They folded multiple timelines into a single offensive formation. Wynn's eyes narrowed. "They're trying to overwrite our timeline, convert us into their perfection." The fleet braced as the shimmering armada advanced, engines roaring, a mirrored echo of humanity itself, but sharper, faster, inhuman. The architect's shadow grew clearer, their ambition revealed in every calculated move. The fleet launched a counteroffensive, weaving through streams of phasing constructs. Rourke narrated, "Each strike is mirrored, but we'll use that against them." Wynn's command echoed across the bridge. "Divide formation. Force them to split calculations." Ren synced the binder, pulsing energy into navigation nodes to create random fluctuations in fleet paths. Constructs paused, recalculating. Wynn smirked. "Now we hit them where it hurts." Plasma beams and crystalline energy tore through mirrored forms of ships, disintegrating constructs mid-phase. Rourke recorded, "They adapt, but they can't anticipate chaos itself." Ren's interface glowed with feedback. "The binder is bending their probability fields. Even the progenitor will notice." In unison, as the fleet executed a synchronized strike across multiple vectors. Shards of construct light scattered across fractured space. For a moment, victory seemed possible, but deep within the shadows, the progenitor recalculated, a new strategy already forming. The progenitor materialized fully, a form of living light spanning thousands of kilometers, resonating with pure intelligence. Rourke whispered, "This is not a ship, not a construct. It's a universe." Wynn gritted her teeth. "Then we target its anchors. Every conduit it touches is a potential weapon against reality." Ren studied the binder's limits. "We can contain it, temporarily, but if it adapts, it could rewrite us entirely." The fleet braced, every system synchronized for a strike that spanned both physical and temporal dimensions. Constructs emerged from the progenitor like extensions of its consciousness, filling the void in impossible formations. Rourke narrated, "Every strike we make is pre-calculated, but it's also preempting itself." Ren's binder pulsed violently, sending out waves of destabilizing energy. Wynn shouted, "Hit the primary conduits, now!" Energy lanced through the progenitor's form, fracturing its extensions and causing temporal tremors across the battlefield. The progenitor recoiled, a ripple of awareness echoing through reality itself. It spoke, a voice without sound. "You fight evolution, and evolution does not yield." The battlefield shattered into recursive layers of space, fleets overlapping their own images across timelines. Rourke whispered, "We're fighting ourselves, and losing fragments with every cycle." Wynn's voice was steel. "Then we make every cycle count, destroy any projection that threatens continuity." Ren synchronized the binder, creating a temporal stabilizer across multiple vectors. Constructs phased unpredictably, shimmering with fractured logic, their attacks cascading across probability threads. Wynn gritted her teeth. "This is not just war. This is survival against our own perfection." Crystalline energy lanced through overlapping fleets, severing duplicates and destabilizing temporal anchors. Rourke narrated, "We're reclaiming fragments, one probability at a time." Ren adjusted the binder, feeding energy into the fleet's navigation nodes to solidify reality. Wynn shouted commands, coordinating every maneuver with ruthless precision. Constructs splintered, disintegrated, or retreated into unformed timelines. The progenitor's presence wavered, but its intelligence pulsed like a heartbeat through every layer. Reality itself seemed to shudder, aware, threatened, resisting. Yet humanity's fleet endured. Ren detected a signal deep within a shadowed quadrant, a concealed architect vault. Rourke whispered, "It's old. Predates even the First War archives." Wynn's voice was sharp. "Then that's where we find the next weapon, or the next threat." The fleet approached, the vault looming like a black monolith, radiating pure energy. Ren interfaced remotely, scanning the surface. "It's a containment field, holding something massive inside." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "Then we proceed carefully. One mistake could unravel everything." Constructs materialized to defend the vault, flowing like dark liquid around its perimeter. Rourke narrated, "Every sensor spike, it's aware we're here." Ren adjusted the binder to sync with fleet shields, sending pulses to disrupt the vault's external defenses. Wynn's command cut through the tension. "Strike in sequence, keep them off balance." Energy beams struck the vault, but it did not collapse. Instead, its surface shimmered, revealing complex glyphs and data streams, blueprints for weapons, universes, and constructs beyond comprehension. The architect's secrets were finally within reach, but so were new, unimaginable dangers. The monolithic vault trembled, sending shockwaves through the surrounding void. Rourke narrated, "It's not just a structure, it's alive, or something close to it." Wynn gritted her teeth. "Brace for impact. Shields up, all weapons primed." Ren interfaced with the vault via the binder, tracing intricate glyphs pulsing with energy. "It's responding to our presence, and to our intent." A pulse of energy radiated outward, destabilizing nearby constructs, but the fleet staggered under the intensity. The vault's surface shifted, revealing openings like fractal gates leading into impossible dimensions. Constructs emerged, their forms twisting unpredictably. Rourke whispered, "Every attack we make, it rewrites their adaptation in real time." Wynn ordered, "Concentrated fire. Push them back and hold the gates." The fleet fired in synchronized volleys, energy arcs slicing through the construct swarm. Ren's binder hummed violently, attempting to stabilize the vault's response. The vault pulsed again, almost as if aware of the fleet's desperation, and ready to defend its secrets at any cost. Within the vault, holographic echoes of early humans flickered. Soldiers, engineers, and leaders, their forms suspended in starlight. Ren whispered, "These are memories, but they're interactive, like a simulation of the First War." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "Then we can learn from them, or be trapped by them." Rourke narrated, "Each echo responds to our presence, recreating scenarios we've never witnessed. It's a tactical library of the past, and a warning for the future." Suddenly, one echo shifted, turning to face the fleet as if aware of the present. Constructs breached the vault's interior, slicing through corridors of memory. Rourke shouted, "They're trying to corrupt the past itself." Ren synchronized the binder with the echoes, allowing the fleet to move in harmony with historical knowledge. Wynn barked orders. "Secure every chamber. Protect the data cores." The echoes guided the fleet, revealing hidden passageways and energy conduits. A massive holographic admiral appeared, pointing toward the deepest chamber. "The weapon lies within the core of creation itself." The fleet braced for the revelation, knowing that what they found could shift the entire war. The deepest chamber revealed a sphere of radiant energy, the heart of the vault. Rourke whispered, "It's a miniature universe, entire reality contained within a single crystal lattice." Wynn's voice was steady. "If the architects control this, they can overwrite everything." Ren interfaced the binder cautiously, mapping the lattice's internal geometry. "It's alive, responding to our thoughts and emotions. Any mistake could collapse it entirely." Constructs surged toward the chamber, their attacks synchronized with temporal distortions. The fleet formed a protective perimeter as beams of energy collided with the sphere, sending ripples through local space. Rourke narrated, "Every strike echoes inside the lattice, potentially damaging the universe it contains." Ren adjusted the binder, creating stabilizing pulses to protect the internal reality. Wynn shouted commands, coordinating volleys to repel constructs while preserving the sphere. Suddenly, glyphs across the lattice activated, projecting visions of alternate universes, each more perfected than the last. The fleet understood. The architect's ultimate goal wasn't destruction, it was replacement. A holographic projection materialized above the core, a human form radiating authority and cosmic awareness. Rourke whispered, The progenitor. It's negotiating, not attacking. Wynn's eyes narrowed. We don't negotiate with perfection. The projection's voice resonated. You cannot win. Every choice you make, every strike you fire has been anticipated for eons. Surrender your timeline. Join perfection. Ren's hands trembled over the binder. It's testing us, probing our limits. Wynn's jaw tightened. Then we show our unpredictability. Constructs faltered as the fleet executed maneuvers outside predicted patterns. Rourke narrated. They're recalculating, confused by our improvisation. Ren amplified the binder's energy, sending pulses into the progenitor's projection. Wynn's command cut through the chaos. Fire on my mark. Focus every weapon on the core lattice. Energy cascaded into the sphere, causing temporal distortions across the vault. The progenitor recoiled, its form fracturing into streams of starlight, revealing weaknesses previously hidden. The architect's greatest gambit had been challenged. Humanity's ingenuity had turned unpredictability into a weapon. The vault trembled, shards of energy cascading outward as the core's lattice stabilized. Rourke whispered, "We've held it. Temporarily." Wynn's voice carried through the fleet. "This is the first victory, but it's only the beginning." Ren exhaled, sweat dripping. The progenitor is fragmented, but not destroyed. Its consciousness persists across timelines. Constructs disintegrated or retreated into the void, leaving the fleet battered but intact. Wynn's gaze swept the horizon. We've forced them to adapt. They'll remember this. They'll evolve faster and strike harder. The fleet hovered around the vault, engines humming in quiet triumph. Rourke narrated, "The architect's shadow lingers, but for the first time, humanity has proven it can resist." Ren stabilized the binder, linking it to fleet sensors to monitor residual energy. Wynn's voice was solemn. "We've won a battle. We've secured the first secrets of their technology, but the war will escalate." The vault's glyphs shimmered, hinting at even deeper knowledge within. The fleet prepared for the next engagement, engines roaring, resolute, defiant, and aware that the universe itself hung in the balance. From the shattered void emerged a new threat. Fragments of the architect fleet, recombined into faster, smarter configurations. Rourke narrated, "They've rebuilt themselves, using what we destroyed as templates." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "Then we must anticipate what they cannot predict." Ren interfaced with the binder, tracing structural weaknesses in the newly formed constructs. "Their adaptation speed is unprecedented. We can't match it conventionally." The fleet repositioned for maximum tactical advantage, aware that conventional firepower alone would not be enough. Constructs phased through shields, striking at multiple points simultaneously. Rourke whispered, "They move like living probability." Wynn barked orders, "Engage in coordinated loops, exploit unpredictability." Ren pulsed the binder, warping a small sector of space to create a controlled anomaly. The reconstructed fleet faltered, colliding with one another as probabilities conflicted. Shards of construct light scattered across the void, giving humanity its first tangible upper hand in the escalating war. The battle had changed. Now, ingenuity was the true weapon. A pulse of energy struck the fleet's sensors, a signal from deep within the void. Rourke murmured, "It's communication, not attack." Wynn's jaw tightened. "They're trying to manipulate us, to lure or trap." Ren interfaced with the binder, decoding the transmission. "It's a directive. From the progenitor. They want us to access the shadow quadrant." Rourke's voice trembled. "Or walk into a trap." The fleet paused, engines humming cautiously as the signal projected a holographic map of previously uncharted sectors. The map revealed unstable wormholes and temporal anomalies converging on a distant cluster. Wynn's voice was resolute. If this is a trap, we turn it into an ambush. If it's real, we must explore it. Ren adjusted the binder to sync with the projected coordinates. We'll need precise navigation. The anomalies could collapse space itself. Constructs flickered in the distance, observing the fleet. Rourke narrated, "Every second we hesitate, they learn. Every choice is monitored." Wynn gritted her teeth. "Then we move, fast, unpredictable, and united." The fleet entered the Shadow Quadrant, a sector of warped space and fractured reality. Rourke narrated, "Light bends. Time distorts. Our sensors can't stabilize." Wynn's voice cut through the chaos. "Form a perimeter. Shield the fleet from temporal spikes." Ren traced the anomalies with the binder, revealing hidden pathways through overlapping dimensions. It's a maze designed to disorient and trap entire fleets. Constructs flitted between the corridors of distorted reality, striking at any sign of structure or order. Wynn's fists clenched. "Then we make our own path. No hesitation." The fleet moved in unpredictable patterns, using binder pulses to anchor sections of reality for navigation. Rourke whispered, "We're threading space like a needle. Every misstep could be fatal." Constructs reacted with delayed precision, unsure which realities to target. Ren pulsed the binder again, creating temporal islands for safe passage. Wynn's voice echoed across the bridge. "Stay focused. Every maneuver counts." The fleet carved a path through the Shadow Quadrant, destabilizing enemy formations and revealing hidden caches of ancient technology left behind by early humans. The architects were watching and adapting, but humanity had gained a subtle advantage. Amid the Shadow Quadrant, a hidden armory appeared, floating platforms of black alloy etched with glyphs pulsing like a heartbeat. Rourke whispered, "This is a weapons cache, and not just ours. It predates the First War." Wynn's eyes narrowed. Every weapon here is a key to the architect's strategy, or a trap. Ren interfaced with the cache via the binder. Energy signatures are compatible with both fleet and binder tech, but it's reactive. Any misalignment could trigger annihilation. Constructs began to converge on the location, drawn by the surge of activity. Wynn barked orders. "Deploy drones. Extract what we can. Secure the cache." Rourke narrated, "Every step we take triggers reaction sequences, some of them ancient defense mechanisms." Ren synchronized the binder, pulsing stabilizing energy across the armory's perimeter. The fleet fired at incoming constructs, blasting through phased hulls while drones secured weapons and tech. Glyphs across the platforms shimmered, projecting tactical overlays of past architect battles. Wynn's voice carried determination. "This knowledge will turn the tide, if we survive long enough to use it." The Shadow Quadrant pulsed with anticipation, alive and observing. Signals from the Shadow Quadrant converged into a single, massive anomaly, a swirling vortex of energy and fragmented timelines. Rourke whispered, This is a nexus point. The progenitor's plan converges here." Wynn's eyes hardened. "Then we prepare the fleet. Full formation, no gaps." Ren interfaced the binder with the vortex, stabilizing sections of reality to create a navigable corridor. Every pulse we send shapes the battlefield and the future. Constructs gathered around the vortex like predators circling prey. The fleet braced, engines roaring as temporal currents ripped around them. Rourke narrated, "Every move is a risk, but hesitation is worse." Wynn's command echoed, "Advance! Anchor reality where we stand." Binder pulses synchronized across ships, locking fragmented timelines into semi-stable patterns. Constructs collided with energy shields, disintegrating and reforming in broken sequences. The vortex trembled, revealing glimpses of alternate universes and perfected human forms. Humanity's next steps would determine not only this battle, but the fate of all existence. The fleet entered the swirling vortex, reality bending around them. Rourke narrated, "Every meter is a gamble. One miscalculation and we cease to exist." Wynn's voice was calm but sharp. "Keep formation. Stabilize with binder pulses. No hesitation." Ren traced temporal currents, his fingers flying across the console. "We're threading through probabilities. Every choice manifests as a potential threat or advantage." Constructs phased through the vortex, striking unpredictably. The fleet moved like a living organism, synchronized across fractured timelines, each vessel tethered to the binder's pulse. The vortex responded, folding space into overlapping corridors. Rourke whispered, "It's like moving through infinity. Every direction is both safe and fatal." Wynn barked, "Use the binder to anchor sections. Focus fire where reality is weakest." Crystalline energy erupted from fleet weapons, disintegrating constructs in unstable patches of space. Ren's binder glowed, resonating with the vortex, creating temporary safe zones. Shards of the vortex splintered, revealing glimpses of alternate universes and perfected humanity, simultaneously inspiring and terrifying. The fleet pressed onward, engines roaring, ready to confront the progenitor's ultimate strategy. Constructs coordinated with frightening precision, anticipating every fleet maneuver. Rourke narrated, "They've integrated every battle we've fought, every strategy we've used." Wynn's jaw tightened. "Then we fight unpredictably, break all patterns." Ren amplified the binder's pulse, creating temporary temporal distortions that fragmented the construct's predictive capacity. In synchrony, as the fleet executed maneuvers that no algorithm could anticipate, constructs collided with each other, disintegrating under the chaotic assault. Rourke whispered, "We're striking beyond their expectations. For the first time, we're dictating the battle." Energy beams lanced through phased space, carving fractures in construct formations. Ren's hands flew over the console, adjusting binder feedback loops in real time. Wynn shouted, "Focus fire on the core of the vortex. Push them back." Constructs faltered, recalculating too late. Shards of starlight splintered as portions of the progenitor's network collapsed under sustained assault. Rourke recorded, "The tide is turning, but their intelligence persists, observing every deviation." The fleet surged forward, engines roaring, a living weapon of unpredictability against perfection itself. Within the vortex, Ren detected a hidden conduit, a channel of pure energy linking the progenitor's consciousness to multiple universes. Rourke whispered, "If they control this, they control everything." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "Then we sever it. No hesitation." Ren interfaced the binder, tracing energy threads that pulsed like living veins. "It's delicate. One wrong pulse and we collapse the vortex entirely." Constructs swarmed to defend it, phasing unpredictably. The fleet braced, engines roaring, every ship poised to strike with calculated chaos. Rourke narrated, "Every strike we make reverberates across the conduit. It adapts instantly." Wynn commanded, "Use the binder to destabilize its energy flow. Fire on my mark." The fleet unleashed volleys of crystalline energy, synchronized with binder pulses, severing minor threads of the conduit. Constructs shrieked as fragments of their consciousness scattered into fractured timelines. Ren's binder glowed violently, stabilizing sections of reality while tearing others free. The conduit's pulse faltered, revealing vulnerabilities in the progenitor's control network. Wynn's gaze hardened. "We found the key. Now we strike at the heart." At the core of the vortex, the progenitor materialized fully, a living lattice of stars and energy. Rourke whispered, "It's infinite. Its consciousness spans entire realities." Wynn's voice was steel. "Then we fight at a scale it cannot anticipate." Ren synchronized the binder with fleet weaponry, every pulse resonating with fractal precision. Every strike must disrupt, not destroy. Destabilize its core loops. Constructs swarmed like liquid shadows, defending their progenitor with reflexive, preemptive strikes. The fleet moved in coordinated unpredictability, weaving through impossible angles and fractured space. Crystalline beams collided with the progenitor's lattice, sending ripples across overlapping realities. Rourke narrated, "Every strike fractures its loops. It's being forced to adapt in real time." Ren's binder pulsed, creating temporary pockets of stabilized reality for fleet maneuvers. Wynn shouted commands, weaving ships through collapsing corridors of energy. The progenitor shimmered, faltering under sustained chaotic pressure, exposing points of vulnerability. Rourke whispered, "We can touch it," for the first time. The fleet surged, engines roaring, poised to strike a blow that could shift the war's momentum across all timelines. The fleet's coordinated strikes tore into the progenitor's lattice, creating the first visible fracture across its consciousness. Rourke gasped, "It's splitting. Reality itself bends where it falters." Wynn's voice rang out, "Hold formation, exploit every weak point." Ren interfaced directly, feeding binder pulses into the fracture to stabilize the surrounding space. One misstep, and we all collapse. Constructs convulsed, flickering as shards of starlight tore through the vortex. The fleet is pressing forward into the heart of fractured reality. The progenitor staggered, fragments of its consciousness scattering across timelines. Rourke narrated, "For the first time, it's vulnerable." Wynn barked orders, "Concentrate fire. Every ship, every pulse, hit the core lattice." Energy cascaded through the vortex, shattering threads of control and fracturing construct coordination. Ren's binder hummed violently, synchronizing fleet pulses to stabilize the surrounding universe. The first fracture spread across the progenitor's lattice, a glowing scar in reality itself. Humanity had inflicted its first decisive blow, but the architect's ultimate counterstrike was already calculating its response. The fracture in the progenitor's lattice expanded, sending ripples through multiple timelines. Rourke narrated, "Entire realities flicker. The architect's control is weakening." Wynn's voice cut through the chaos. "Press the advantage. Exploit every crack." Ren interfaced the binder, stabilizing vulnerable areas while amplifying destructive pulses into the lattice. "We must avoid collateral collapse." Constructs surged, defensive and aggressive simultaneously, attempting to repair fractured threads. The fleet threaded the lattice, weaving unpredictably through energy currents that defied comprehension. Energy beams struck critical nodes in the lattice, tearing fragments of consciousness into fractured light. Rourke whispered, "They're reorganizing, adaptive, but slower." Wynn barked orders, "Target the newly exposed cores. Focus every pulse, every strike." Ren's binder hummed in resonance, linking fleet maneuvers across fragmented space. The lattice shuddered violently, cracking further under the assault. Constructs faltered, their reflexive patterns disrupted. Humanity had scored a major victory, but each fracture threatened to destabilize the surrounding universe. Time itself trembled as the progenitor's lattice faltered, overlapping realities colliding. Rourke narrated, "Chronal currents are spiraling, entire timelines folding into one another." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "We stabilize what we can, then strike again." Ren synchronized binder pulses with fleet engines, creating temporal anchors to prevent catastrophic collapse. One misstep, and we lose the sector entirely. Constructs moved in unpredictable arcs, exploiting collapsing probabilities. The fleet braced, engines roaring, their energy resonating with the binder's stabilizing hum. Rourke whispered, "We're threading the needle through time itself. Every second counts." Wynn barked, "Hold formation. Concentrate fire on fractured nodes." Crystalline beams tore through constructs while stabilizing anchors prevented total temporal collapse. Ren's binder pulsed violently, feeding energy into weak points while protecting nearby reality. The progenitor flickered, destabilized but unyielding, adapting to human ingenuity. Rourke recorded, "The first cracks are showing, but the core remains intact." The fleet prepared for the next strike, the one that could fracture the progenitor completely. Amid the chaos, holographic glyphs from the progenitor revealed a hidden pattern, an ancient strategy spanning eons. Rourke whispered, "They've set contingency plans. Entire universes poised as traps." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "Then we fight not just constructs, but inevitability itself." Ren interfaced the binder, decoding the glyphs. It's a sequence of collapses designed to force us into predictable responses. If we misstep, we become part of its lattice. Constructs phased in, guarding these nodes, anticipating even human improvisation. Wynn barked orders. "Ignore the decoys. Focus on the lattice fracture." Rourke narrated, "Every node we destroy alters the progenitor's calculations, creating new vulnerabilities." Ren amplified binder pulses, creating unpredictable energy fluctuations. Constructs convulsed, struggling to adapt to chaotic maneuvers. The fleet's weapons tore into the lattice, each strike destabilizing threads of reality across timelines. Wynn's voice carried determination. "We're writing our own probabilities now." The progenitor recalculated frantically, its ancient strategy threatened by the fleet's ingenuity. Reinforcements emerged from distant timelines, alternate human fleets, construct splinters, and energy anomalies converging on the lattice. Rourke whispered, "It's a multiversal battle now, every timeline overlapping in one moment." Wynn's voice was resolute. "We coordinate across realities. Every ship must act as one." Ren synchronized the binder with all incoming forces, creating a networked assault across dimensions. "It's the only way to prevent total collapse." Energy arcs cut through the void, reflecting infinite possibilities of attack and counterattack. Constructs and fleet merged in chaotic clashes, energy beams tearing through overlapping spaces. Rourke narrated, "Every attack now reshapes probabilities. Every failure or success echoes across realities." Wynn barked, "Exploit fractures. Focus fire on the progenitor's exposed nodes." Ren pulsed the binder, anchoring collapsing timelines and amplifying coordinated volleys. The lattice quivered violently, fissures spreading like lightning across energy filaments. Constructs faltered, overextended, and disintegrated mid-phase. Humanity's ingenuity had forced convergence, but the progenitor's ultimate move loomed, an unpredictable strike that could undo them all. The progenitor retaliated, sending a surge of energy that fractured local reality, displacing fleets across timelines. Rourke gasped, "It's collapsing sectors. We're losing cohesion." Wynn's voice cut through the chaos. "Regroup. Use binder anchors to stabilize positions." Ren interfaced directly, weaving the fleet through the collapsing timelines with impossibly precise calculations. "One wrong pulse, and we vanish entirely." Constructs surged with renewed coordination, striking at stabilized zones. The fleet fought against shifting space, tethered only by the binder's pulses. Energy arcs tore through fractured corridors of space, disintegrating ships and constructs alike. Rourke whispered, "Every pulse counts. Every second is borrowed time." Wynn barked, "Hold formation. Exploit their overextension." Ren sent a binder pulse into the progenitor's lattice fracture, amplifying the human fleet's combined energy. The progenitor convulsed, its consciousness scattering into overlapping timelines. The first true counterstrike had succeeded, but the cost was immense and the ultimate battle for reality had only just begun. Across the void, humanity is bracing for the next unimaginable phase of war. The battlefield lay fragmented, ribbons of reality torn apart, timelines overlapping in violent patterns. Rourke narrated, "Every sector is a puzzle, a trap of their own making." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "We stabilize what we can, strike where we must and trust only unpredictability. Ren interfaced with the binder, mapping unstable corridors of space. If we misalign, we vanish entirely. Constructs appeared, phasing unpredictably, striking at multiple points simultaneously. The fleet threaded the chaos, each ship tethered to the binder's pulse. Rourke whispered, "We're threading through shattered timelines. Every strike could create or destroy reality." Wynn barked, "Focus fire, exploit every weakness." Binder pulses synchronized with fleet maneuvers, anchoring temporary sections of reality. Constructs faltered, miscalculating the unpredictable movements. Shards of starlight tore across fractured space, revealing glimpses of perfected human forms, the architect's ultimate vision. Wynn's gaze hardened. Every strike we make counts. For now, humanity writes its own destiny. The fleet pressed onward, engines roaring, bracing for the progenitor's inevitable counterattack. A sudden wave of energy swept through the fractured sectors, projecting an immense holographic form of the progenitor. Rourke whispered, "It's predicting us, coordinating constructs across multiple timelines simultaneously." Wynn's jaw clenched. "Then we force improvisation, strike where it least expects." Ren interfaced with the binder, pulsing energy to destabilize the progenitor's network. Every strike must fracture its logic nodes, not just its lattice. Constructs surged in response, faster, sharper, anticipating patterns the fleet had not yet enacted. Rourke narrated, "Every move we make is cataloged. It's evolving with us." Wynn barked orders, "Exploit overlapping timelines. Strike in ways it cannot calculate." Binder pulses amplified fleet weaponry, sending energy across fractured sectors unpredictably. Constructs convulsed, recalculating, faltering under the chaotic assault. The progenitor shimmered, its consciousness flickering with uncertainty. Rourke whispered, "We've disrupted the pattern, for the first time." As humanity pushed its advantage, exploiting chaos against perfection, multiple timelines collided violently, funneling the fleet and constructs into a single, unstable corridor. Rourke narrated, "Every choice, every pulse, amplified across realities." Wynn's voice rang out, "Synchronize, one fleet, one strike, across all timelines." Ren's binder hummed, stabilizing the corridor and linking ship's energy. "If we fail, we collapse the corridor entirely." Constructs phased unpredictably, striking from impossible angles. The fleet weaved through, tethered to the binder's stabilizing pulses. Rourke whispered, "We're threading impossibility itself, and holding it together." Wynn barked, "Focus fire on the progenitor's nodes. Every strike counts across all realities." Binder pulses resonated with weapon volleys, shattering constructs and fracturing sections of the progenitor's lattice. The progenitor staggered, struggling to reconcile overlapping attacks. Rourke recorded, "It's adapting, but slower than our improvisation." Shards of fractured reality sparkled across the corridor as humanity's fleet pushed deeper, engines roaring. The first real advantage had been won, but the progenitor was far from defeated. Ren detected a hidden core deep within the lattice, a point where the progenitor's consciousness was most concentrated. Rourke whispered, "If we strike this, it could destabilize the entire network." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "Then we prepare. Every ship, every pulse, focused on that point." Binder pulses resonated through the fleet, creating an energy network connecting ships across fractured space. Constructs converged, defending the core with desperate precision. The fleet maneuvered, threading the impossible path toward the progenitor's heart. Rourke narrated, "Every misstep risks collapse. Every success fractures reality further." Wynn barked, "Hold formation. Exploit every weakness in the network." Crystalline beams tore through construct defenses, synchronized with binder pulses stabilizing the fleet. The hidden core shimmered, revealing a lattice of pure energy, the progenitor's essence compressed into a tangible nexus. Rourke whispered, "We found it, the heart of their control." As humanity braced for a decisive strike that could redefine the battle for existence itself, fleet volleys collided with the progenitor's hidden core, fracturing its concentrated lattice. Rourke whispered, "It's splitting, destabilizing its own structure." Wynn's voice was steel. "Exploit every crack. Push it to its limit." Ren interfaced directly with the binder, pulsing energy to reinforce fleet positions while amplifying damage to the lattice. Constructs faltered, convulsing as the progenitor's control threads unraveled across multiple realities. The fleet synchronized with binder pulses, every weapon striking in chaotic unison. The core fractured violently, shards of starlight scattering across overlapping timelines. Rourke narrated, "The progenitor, it's losing cohesion. Reality itself bends at the fractures." Wynn barked, "Focus! Every strike, every pulse. Don't let it recover." Bender pulses resonated, locking temporary stabilizing zones while hammering the progenitor's heart. Constructs disintegrated mid-phase, overextended, and unable to adapt. The first true fracture of the progenitor's consciousness spread across the lattice. Humanity had scored a monumental victory, but the architect's ultimate countermeasure was already calculating its inevitable response. The progenitor's lattice splintered further, strands of energy twisting across fractured timelines. Rourke whispered, "It's unraveling, but unpredictably. Every pulse we send creates new dangers." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "Then we fight with chaos, make our attacks impossible to predict." Ren synchronized the binder, stabilizing sections of reality while amplifying fleet volleys. "We're threading through collapsing probabilities. One misstep, and everything falls apart." Constructs surged, desperate and adaptive, striking at anchored zones. The fleet moved like a single organism, tethered to binder pulses. Rourke narrated, "Every strike fractures its calculations. It's adapting slower than our improvisation." Wynn barked, "Exploit every instability. Focus on the weakest nodes." Crystalline beams carved through constructs and lattice fragments alike. Ren's binder pulsed violently, feeding energy into critical points while holding surrounding space stable. The progenitor flickered, its consciousness scattering across timelines. Rourke whispered, "We've forced the first cracks, but the ultimate threat is still out there." As humanity prepared for the next, even more decisive engagement, a new wave of energy surged from the progenitor, targeting the fleet with unprecedented precision. Rourke gasped, "It's predicting our movements. Every strategy cataloged and countered." Wynn's voice was steel. "Then we improvise at scale. Every ship, every pulse, unpredictably." Ren interfaced with the binder, pulsing chaotic energy to disrupt the progenitor's targeting. "We must force errors or be annihilated." Constructs struck in synchronized bursts, attempting to overwhelm the fleet. The fleet wove through collapsing currents of space. Rourke narrated, "Every pulse echoes across timelines, every misstep is amplified." Wynn barked, "Break patterns, force adaptation beyond its limits." Binder pulses resonated through fleet weapons, creating unpredictable energy vectors. Constructs faltered, colliding with one another as probability loops shattered. The progenitor shimmered, destabilized but still calculating. Rourke whispered, "It's learning, but slower than our improvisation." As humanity pushed forward, exploiting chaos against perfection itself, deep within the fractured lattice, Ren detected the final nexus, a core where the progenitor's consciousness anchored multiple realities. Rourke whispered, "Strike this, and we could collapse its entire network, or destroy ourselves." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "Then we prepare for everything. All ships, all pulses, synchronized." Binder energy pulsed through the fleet, stabilizing fractured space while feeding volleys toward the nexus. Constructs surged in a last-ditch defense, phasing unpredictably to intercept the fleet. As humanity threaded through collapsing corridors toward the ultimate target, Rourke narrated, "Every second counts. Every misstep could be fatal." Wynn barked, "Concentrate all fire on the Nexus. Exploit every weakness." Crystalline beams tore through construct defenses, synchronized with binder pulses amplifying fleet weapons. The Nexus shimmered, a lattice of pure energy, the progenitor's essence concentrated. Rourke whispered, "We've found it, the heart of their control." As humanity braced for the strike that could determine the fate of all realities, the fleet's volleys struck the Nexus, fracturing the progenitor's concentrated lattice. Rourke whispered, "It's splitting. Reality bends where it falters." Wynn's voice rang out, "Push every strike, exploit every fracture." Ren interfaced directly with the binder, amplifying damage to the Nexus while stabilizing surrounding space. Constructs faltered, convulsing as threads of consciousness unraveled across timelines. The fleet synchronized with binder pulses, every ship a node of chaotic precision. The Nexus fractured violently, shards of starlight scattering across overlapping realities. Rourke narrated, "The progenitor. It's destabilized, its lattice fragmenting." Wynn barked, "Maintain pressure. Every pulse, every beam, don't let it recover." Binder pulses locked temporary zones while hammering the progenitor's core. Constructs disintegrated mid-phase, unable to adapt. The first major collapse of the progenitor's consciousness spread across timelines. Humanity had scored a monumental victory, but the Architect's ultimate countermeasure was already calculating its inevitable response. A sudden, overwhelming projection engulfed the fleet, a holographic message from the progenitor. Rourke whispered, "It's communicating, warning us." Wynn's eyes narrowed. "We don't negotiate with perfection." The projection's voice resonated across reality. "Cease your assault, or every timeline, every universe, every fragment of humanity will be overwritten. Join perfection, or be erased." Ren interfaced with the binder, pulsing energy defensively. "It's a direct ultimatum. Our next choice must decide everything." Constructs massed around the fractured Nexus, ready to execute the progenitor's final strategy. Rourke narrated, "Every second we hesitate, it calculates the outcome." Wynn barked, "Then we choose chaos. Every strike, every pulse, unpredictably." The fleet surged forward, engines roaring, synchronized across fragmented timelines. Binder pulses rippled, anchoring temporary zones while amplifying weapon strikes. Constructs faltered, disrupted by chaotic maneuvers. The ultimatum hung over humanity, a shadow of annihilation or transformation. Every choice in the next engagement would determine the fate of reality itself. The fleet surged into the fractured Nexus, every ship synchronized with binder pulses. Rourke narrated, "This is it. Every strike must count." Wynn's voice rang with steel. "Target the progenitor's core, no hesitation." Ren interfaced directly, channeling binder energy into every vessel. We thread through collapsing timelines. One misstep, and we vanish entirely. Constructs massed defensively, phasing unpredictably to intercept human maneuvers. The fleet moved as one organism, each ship a node of chaotic precision. Crystalline beams tore through the progenitor's lattice, fracturing threads of consciousness across overlapping realities. Rourke whispered, "Every pulse echoes across timelines. Its calculations falter." Wynn barked, "Exploit every crack. Push forward." Binder pulses synchronized with fleet volleys, amplifying destructive energy while stabilizing temporary zones of reality. Constructs convulsed, scattering into fragments. The progenitor shimmered violently, straining to maintain cohesion. As humanity pressed the final assault, risking everything to break the Architect's control, the progenitor's core splintered, energy arcs radiating across fragmented timelines. Rourke whispered, "It's unraveling, but unpredictably. Every pulse we send creates new dangers." Wynn barked, "Exploit every fracture. Hold formation." Ren interfaced with the binder, stabilizing the fleet while amplifying damage to the collapsing lattice. Constructs flailed, defensive patterns failing under chaotic strikes. As humanity threaded through collapsing corridors, striking every exposed node. The Nexus quivered, shedding fragments of energy across overlapping realities. Rourke narrated, "The progenitor's calculations falter. For the first time, it struggles to anticipate." Wynn's voice was resolute. "Push every attack. Make unpredictability our weapon." Bender pulses fed energy into fleet weapons, creating cascading fractures in the lattice. Constructs disintegrated mid-phase, unable to adapt. Shards of starlight scattered across realities, revealing glimpses of alternate perfected humanity. Visions the architects had sought to impose. The fleet pressed on, threading collapsing timelines and exploiting every weakness in the progenitor's defenses. The progenitor convulsed violently, fragments of consciousness scattering across timelines. Rourke whispered, "It's losing cohesion. Entire sectors of its control collapse." Wynn barked, "Maintain pressure. Every strike counts." Ren synchronized binder pulses with fleet volleys, amplifying energy while stabilizing critical zones. Constructs faltered, defensive reflexes failing as chaos became the dominant force. The fleet carved paths through previously impossible space, threading shattered realities with precise improvisation. Rourke narrated, "For the first time, the architect's perfect strategy fails. Our improvisation dictates outcomes." Wynn's voice was unwavering. "Push forward. Exploit the collapse." Binder pulses resonated through weapon systems, tearing through lattice remnants. Constructs scattered and disintegrated, overextended beyond repair. The progenitor shimmered, fragmented, and weakened, unable to maintain cohesion. Shards of reality stuttered, then stabilized in human-controlled zones. As humanity realized the first true victory against a foe who had shaped entire universes, the progenitor's core collapsed completely, sending a pulse across all timelines. Rourke whispered, "It's gone. At least, partially. Reality holds." Wynn's eyes scanned the horizon. "We've reclaimed what was ours, but the cost?" Ren interfaced the binder, stabilizing lingering fragments of energy and scattered constructs. "We've survived, but every pulse leaves scars." The fleet hovered in the aftermath, engines humming quietly, battered but alive. Constructs no longer coordinated, drifting as remnants of failed designs. Rourke narrated, "The architect's influence is fractured, but echoes remain." The fleet worked to stabilize the fractured sectors, binder pulses anchoring reality. Wynn's voice carried determination. "We've survived, learned, and adapted. Humanity endures." Ren mapped residual energy signatures, marking potential threats and tools for the future. Rourke whispered, "Every scar is a lesson. Every fragment a warning." Shards of starlight shimmered, remnants of universes the architects had tried to overwrite. In quiet triumph, humanity's ingenuity and unpredictability have preserved reality itself. The war was far from over, but the first decisive victory had been won. Across the now stabilized sectors, fleet formations remain steady despite years of cosmic battles. Rourke narrated, "The architect's shadow lingers, but humanity has proven it can endure." Wynn's eyes surveyed the stars. Every strike, every decision, led to this moment. We survived, and we adapted. Ren interfaced the binder, linking fleets and systems to monitor lingering anomalies. Reality is fragile, but under our watch. Constructs drifted, inert, or scattered across timelines, remnants of a threat humanity had outmaneuvered. Engines hummed, a quiet cadence in the aftermath of chaos. Rourke whispered, "We've reclaimed not just survival, but agency." Wynn's voice rang with hope. "The future is ours to shape. We've learned the architect's ways and mastered unpredictability." Ren stabilized the final remnants of energy, mapping paths for humanity to explore and secure. Shards of starlight shimmered, reflecting lessons of war, innovation, and resilience. Across the stars, carrying fleets and hope in equal measure. Rourke narrated, "The first victory was hard won, but humanity endures, and the universe, imperfect and alive, now bears its mark." A new dawn had begun, one written by humanity's hands, and not the architects. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story, or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.